Good morning. I think it's still good morning here, but good afternoon or good evening for wherever you are. I've found another spot in the garden because it's got later and later through the morning and I haven't been outside. So now I need a bit of shade so I can actually see. I need enough light so that you can see. So I'm nestled into a different part of the garden where I've got a gardenia on one side of me that's looking very healthy, and on the other side there's the lilac that's it's coming to the end of its flowering time. But this way you won't see Benny. I can assure you he's running around, but you won't see him. I'm the only one who can see him. So this is another, well, it's going to be 5 or 6 tips again on aging. And please don't think I'm an expert. I'm just like everyone else. I find some things that help me and other things that don't. I try new things and it doesn't work, or it does work. But this morning, as I was walking out, I thought of one that I haven't written down, so I haven't even written any notes for it. But whether you're living on your own or whether you have a partner, a husband or partner, however, you have different challenges. Being on your own can be difficult because you have to rely on yourself or people coming in to help you. You can be just plain lonely, or you can enjoy the time on your own. It just varies so much on how you are. And I feel for those who are lonely, who feel isolated. And I know that there are many who do feel isolated. So that's not very easy either. And it's why I make a point of trying to say hello to people I walk past, or at least smile at them. As one of you said that she always makes an effort to smile at people. So if there's no connection, at least she knows that she smiled at them. And having a partner can bring challenges too. Sometimes I really relish the thought of having a bit of time on my own, and as I say laughingly to my kids, having some air that nobody else has breathed. And we are really good mates. We're not perfect. I think I'm perfect and he's perhaps not perfect at times, and I'm sure he thinks the other way around. But when you have to consider somebody else's needs along with your own, and if you've both got challenges, if you've both got health problems, that makes it even more difficult because you've got to take in allowances for the other person and how they're feeling, and not just be taken up with how you're feeling yourself. And I found it a little difficult at the moment because he's a little bit deaf. So I raise my voice, and then I raise my voice and raise it again, and then it sounds as though I'm shouting at him, which I'm not, but I'm just trying to get him to hear. And he's only a little bit deaf. He's only got a little problem. So for people who've got a really deaf partner, I can imagine it's really hard. So I think, I haven't really got tips. I'm just validating how you might feel. Validating that it's not always easy, even when you have a partner who you love and adore, because each of us is walking a different path. We're walking along a similar path, but we are walking along a different path, or perhaps I should say we're wearing different shoes. His shoes don't fit me, my shoes don't fit him. So of course there are going to be misunderstandings along the way. So if you're having those sort of challenges, whether you're jumping back to feeling lonely or alone, you just have to take big deep breaths and walk outside, or if you're on your own, walk out into nature. I think nature's the best healer that you can find. If you've got your partner, just take a deep breath and go. Just find a little spot where you can be on your own for 5 minutes. When I was a young mum, in fact it was when I was older and I was helping some people, and I said, if you need some time on your own, just go to the toilet. Go in there, sit down and shut the door and pretend that you're busy. And that way you can get 5 minutes of peace and quiet and you're really not disturbed. So I guess that's the tip. if you're with somebody, just go to the loo when you need a bit of time to yourself, or and if you're on your own, and both when you're with someone or not with someone, for goodness sake, get out into the fresh air, have some fresh air. It's the best thing. So another one I've written is writing down your thoughts. Any thoughts that come into your mind, whatever's going on in your life. In fact, that's how I started to write my poetry. But if you do write down your thoughts every day, you sometimes find a pattern of where your thoughts are, and you might think, oh, I'm always thinking that, or feeling this way, or I might be feeling hurt, or I might, that is a challenge for me because I'm writing about it every day. So if you find that you're writing the same things on a regular basis, I might suggest that you perhaps look at that and see if there's something that you can do about it. Sometimes it's a way to directly find out what's going on, what's really going on at your subconscious level. It comes out. And I've actually already said about getting outside. So, I've got other ones here too, so I'm probably feeling a little bit muddly today. But being outside is really so important that you get enough vitamin D for your healing and for your peace of mind as well. And I've written about the joys of an afternoon nap. I'm an absolute believer in having a nap, or it could be only 10 minutes, 20 minutes. Feet up, eyes closed, quiet. They really helps you so much for the rest of the day. You mightn't realise it at the time. And I know my husband says he can't sleep in the day, but I do notice that his eyes droop very tightly closed at times. And so that's the only way that he can do it. But it does you so much good. It gives you fresh air, fresh life to go on later. And I know you might think it's lazy, or that only weak people have naps or rests, but I think it's an insect on me. I think it's really important that you do that. This one I think is another really good one. Talk to yourself in a positive way. I do have a lot of problems with arthritis. I'm very sore a lot of the time. And I keep telling myself, you're strong. You're amazing. Your muscles are so strong. Look at you. You can do this. That's a good one, I say. You can do this. Yes, you can. Just keep on giving yourself praise when you do things. We tend to focus on what we can't do. Focus on what you can do and praise yourself for it. Yep, I'm doing a great job here. Mightn't feel like it, but if you keep telling yourself you're doing a great job, then I think it gets through into your subconscious. So I'm great. My muscles are strong. I can walk really well. I'm kind. Just think about all the positive things that you can say to yourself instead of this other, oh God, that's another thing I can't do. But just think, but look what I can do. So please focus on that, what you can do. And this is going to be my last one. It is, it's a pretty good one too. Know that some friends that you have will always be your friends, no matter what, no matter where, no matter where you live, whether you live now hundreds of miles away from each other on the other side of the world. They will stick with you whatever. But there are others who come into your life for a certain amount of time, perhaps because they need what you can give them, or perhaps it is that they have something that they can give you. For example, there was a friend of mine, can you hear the cockatoo? A friend of mine years ago, again when I had probably teenage children, I think, a she was from England, but she moved into a property, a farm, not far from us when we moved there. And she and I became the best friends, and we helped each other all the time. Her husband was away a lot overseas. Mine was just away a lot. We had rosters for the school. It was a probably 20k trip into school, so we shared that. And we actually both left the same area around the same time. But she was there, I think. She helped me so much because she did actually help me through marriage breakup. She was just there whenever I needed her, and she was amazing. So, and other friends, we were a school friend, but we were together at school for 2 years. It seems like 100 years ago. Well, she lives in England, and I'm here in Australia, of course, and so we don't see each other now. It's just Christmas cards, really, but I still feel just as close to her as I ever did when I was at school, when I was a boarder and she lived in Melbourne, not far from the school, and I used to stay there quite a lot. And the parents were wonderful to me. In fact, this is a bit of a sidestep, but I'll always remember it, and I've told the kids about it too. So I was probably 14 or 15, and they lived in a pretty, how can I put it? He was, I think, the aide-de-camp to the Governor of Victoria. I think that's what he was. So he entertained all sorts of people. They had a beautiful big house, really big house, and the dining room was a really big dining room, painted red, which I just thought was the smartest, most wonderful thing. And there was a dinner party, and I had been sat next to the Colonel. And I spilt peas on the floor, and I was so embarrassed. You can imagine a shy country girl and their peas on the floor. So do you know what he did? He spilt peas on the floor. So how nice was that? Make me feel that it was okay to spill peas on the floor just to make someone else feel comfortable. And I think we can do that at any age, but it was a lovely thing to do. And she would come to the farm with me. We lived in a completely different, our house was just a little country farm, weatherboard farmhouse cottage, but she'd come with me. We'd feed the cattle, so she'd even drive the tractor while I threw the hay out, and vice versa. So she had different experiences with me than she did when she was in Melbourne, than I had with her when I was in Melbourne. So yeah, friends can come into our lives just for a certain amount of time. They can be there for a long time, or they can be there for a short time. And just because they perhaps turn their back or get on with a different part of their lives, it doesn't mean that they're actually scorning you, but they have something else to do. And I remembered the old saying, and I'll say it as, if you love someone, set them free. If they come back, they're yours. If they don't come back, they never were. So it's a very old one, but you might like that to finish up with. It's really rather a lovely thing to think that. And it goes with possessions as well. If you love it, let it go. If somehow it comes back to you, it is yours. Otherwise, it never was yours. I think that's enough waffle for today. In fact, it's the longest one I've ever had. So I hope it's not been too long. Hope you get through it, and have a cup of tea when you start, I think. All right, take care, everyone. I love you all. Bye.